The night hung heavy over the desolate road as Raymond, Mark, and Emily left the remote funeral site of a friend's relative. The air was thick with an unnatural stillness, and the moon cast eerie shadows across the landscape. The friends had a 2-hour journey ahead, and as the sun dipped below the horizon, darkness enveloped them. Raymond, a tall and lanky man with a penchant for superstitions, looked at his friends with a serious expression. "Guys, there's something we need to do. It's a superstition I've heard. After attending a funeral, we should not go straight home. The spirits might follow us." Mark, a skeptic with a penchant for mocking the supernatural, chuckled. "Come on, Raymond. You can't seriously believe in that stuff, can you? It's just an old wives' tale." Emily, more open-minded but not entirely convinced, added, "I mean, it won't hurt to indulge Raymond, right? Let's go grab dinner first, and then we can head home." Raymond, relieved that his friends were at least considering the idea, agreed. "Fine, dinner it is. We'll just make a small detour. It's better to be safe." As they drove deeper into the night, the isolation of the area became more pronounced. Sparse trees lined the sides of the road, their twisted branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. The only sounds were the rumble of the car engine and the distant hooting of an owl. The trio eventually found a small diner, its neon sign flickering with an eerie glow. Inside, the atmosphere was stifling, and the dim lighting cast long, ominous shadows. They ordered their food in uneasy silence, the events of the funeral still lingering in the back of their minds. After a tense meal, they returned to the car. The clock on the dashboard read 11 p.m. Raymond took a deep breath and said, "All right, let's head home now. We should be safe." Mark, ever the disbeliever, laughed. "See? Nothing happened. Your superstition is just a load of nonsense." As they drove back through the darkened roads, the air inside the car grew heavy. Unbeknownst to them, a spectral figure trailed closely behind, unseen in the shadows. Raymond's unease increased, but he kept his eyes on the road, trying not to let his imagination get the best of him. When they finally arrived home, the friends bid each other good night. Mark and Emily scoffed at Raymond's superstition once again and headed inside their respective houses, leaving Raymond alone in the eerie silence of the night. As Raymond stepped inside his home, he felt a sudden chill. The air seemed to thicken, and a sense of dread settled over him. He shook off the feeling, convincing himself it was just his imagination. However, as he prepared for bed, strange occurrences began to unfold. Whispers echoed through the empty halls, and the temperature dropped. Raymond, now unnerved, tried to dismiss it as fatigue from the emotional day. But as he lay in bed, a faint figure materialized at the foot of his bed, a silhouette of the friend whose relative they had mourned earlier that day. Terrified, Raymond could hardly speak. "Why are you here? What do you want?" The ghostly figure remained silent, its eyes filled with an otherworldly sadness. As Raymond stared in horror, he realized that the superstition might not be mere folklore after all. The spirit had followed them, and now it sought something unresolved. The following day, Mark and Emily woke up to Raymond's frantic messages. He pleaded with them to meet him, to discuss the inexplicable events of the previous night. Mark, still skeptical, agreed reluctantly, thinking that Raymond had succumbed to grief-induced hallucinations. As they gathered in Raymond's living room, he recounted the haunting encounter with the ghost. Mark and Emily exchanged uneasy glances but maintained their skepticism. Determined to prove the supernatural wrong, they decided to stay at Raymond's house for the night. As darkness fell, the temperature inside the house plummeted. Unseen hands brushed against their skin, and distant whispers echoed through the halls. Mark, now visibly shaken, stammered, "Okay, this is weird, but it could be a draft or something, right?" Emily, feeling a chill crawl down her spine, replied, "I don't know, Mark. This feels different. Maybe we should have listened to Raymond." Raymond, desperate for answers, suggested they visit the site of the funeral. Perhaps there was something left unresolved, something the spirit needed to communicate. Reluctantly, Mark and Emily agreed, hoping to put an end to the inexplicable events. As they stood by the grave, the air grew heavy with an otherworldly presence. The ghostly figure materialized once more, its eyes pleading for understanding. Raymond, empathetic and determined, asked, "What do you want from us? Why are you here?" Through ethereal whispers, the spirit conveyed a tale of betrayal and unfinished business. The deceased had been wronged, and the injustice lingered even in death. The friends, now believers, listened intently, realizing that they were entangled in a supernatural drama. Determined to right the wrongs of the past, the trio delved into the history of the deceased. They uncovered a tale of deceit, betrayal, and a stolen inheritance. The spirits sought justice, and only by rectifying the past could they free themselves from the haunting. Together, Raymond, Mark, and Emily embarked on a journey to uncover the truth and bring closure to the restless spirit. As they delved into the secrets of the past, they faced malevolent entities and unearthed long-buried mysteries. The supernatural forces intensified, testing their resolve and challenging their understanding of the world. In a climactic confrontation, the friends confronted the source of the spirit's anguish, a malevolent force that thrived on unresolved grievances. With courage and determination, they unraveled the dark secrets, restoring justice to the restless soul. As the first light of dawn broke, the ghostly figure faded away, its eyes filled with gratitude. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the friends felt a sense of closure. Exhausted but triumphant, they returned home, forever changed by their encounter with the supernatural. From that day forward, Raymond, Mark, and Emily became staunch believers in the paranormal. The events of that fateful night forged a bond between them, a shared understanding that some mysteries are beyond the realm of logic and reason. As they celebrated the one-year anniversary of their harrowing experience, the friends raised a toast to the departed soul whose quest for justice had brought them together. The supernatural had woven its threads into their lives, leaving an indelible mark on their journey through the unknown.